Juhana Arkio has gained an extensive work experience in the field of industrial design. Before joining Wärtsilä, Juhana was introducing ways to create competitive edge in global elevator business through industrial design methods. Today, Juhana is running the industrial design team at Wärtsilä. He is continuing his work to establish industrial design practices into heavy industry.
So, very good morning to everybody. My name is Juhana Arkio. I come from Wärtsilä. Thanks, Antti, for your presentation. I have always considered myself more in the creative side of working in the design field, but I must admit that I'm a very big fan of return on investment thinking. It's a very good hobby if you are a designer to have that kind of a design thinking also. Few words, maybe could you run the first film first, perhaps?
We used to make only diesel engines. In order to keep them working as efficiently as possible, providing spare parts and maintenance all over the world 24/7 was the right way to go. And as the propulsion equipment affects engine performance, we started doing those too. To ensure that all the parts, whoever made them, work optimally together, we began offering fully integrated systems. Then we added automation systems to our offering, so that now we cover the control technology for the entire ship, from bridge to engine room. And as the hull design affects the propulsion system and vice versa, we've become a leading ship designer. In addition to adding new products and solutions to our portfolio, we've also optimized existing ones, for example, adding gas solutions or improving the electronic control systems to increase efficiency and reliability even further. In addition to the environmentally sound increased efficiency and gas solutions, we decided to offer environmental solutions as well. Based on this experience, we realized that optimization really works best when you have enough pieces and time to work with. So now we offer total life cycle solutions. And as change is both fast and inevitable, we've made our solutions very flexible to ensure that they stay optimal. That's why we have the only truly total marine offering in the business. Let's find your shorter route to bigger profits. See what we can do for you at wärtsilä.com.
Yes, this is our company. Few corporate videos and slides in the beginning. I really love these videos because they have so great sound effects. So it's very nice to show in this kind of auditorium. Wärtsilä is a very global, very international company. Nearly 19,000 professionals in 114 from nationalities from 70 countries. And we are present in 160 locations all around the world. Basically, our research and development, manufacturing, and especially service business operations are very wide and global operations. The business areas that we work in Wärtsilä is power plants, energy markets, ship power in marine. We are in the marine business and also having service business for both of these business areas. So we are not only anymore an engine company like it was in the video. We offer total life cycle power solutions to energy and marine markets. And what we bring to the market is actually efficiency, environmental solutions, and fuel flexibility. Okay, now you can switch to the other presentation, thanks. So I'm not actually a corporate person to give you business details today. I'm a industrial designer from my background, and I'm here to talk to you about industrial design-driven innovation. But it's good to have this sort of some basic stuff about Wärtsilä before we go into this area. I would like today to show you few case examples and highlight how the value is created in business-to-business environment. So, in addition to the strategy, we are focusing on reliability and life cycle efficiency, integrated equipment and service portfolio, and we have focus on innovation and R&D activities. The industrial design mission, first of all, is to create meaningful and valuable product identity for Wärtsilä products and services. And this actually means that in the end, all the actions that we do in the design side and the creative side, we want to, ultimately, we want to actually achieve brand value with our actions. That's the sort of a very natural target and objective in industrial design, working in design business. Whether it's sometimes measurable or not, but brand value anyway it is, and brand recognition. And to create competitive advantage with innovative industrial design solutions. And this actually, this is actually not the basic idea of creating more competitiveness or enhancing competitiveness as such, which is many times about cost reduction and cost competitiveness. What we actually do is many times we are in a situation that we need to think that how can we actually change the rules of the competition. And rather than giving competitiveness, we make competitive edge, which actually means that we create some other value that is innovative to the markets, and it's not necessarily related straight to the cost competition. To enable, third point, to enable intuitive understanding and interaction between users, technology, and brand. And this is the natural role when you are operating in a technology engineering environment, in a business-to-business environment, that what is the role and position for design and industrial design. And it's really when you have technology and you have people, you have users, you need design in between. And over there, it's actually critical. And if you think whatever interface, user interface design, especially graphical user interface design in complex systems, it is very obvious that industrial design and service design is actually a critical capability in whatever business environment already. So the sort of value in design is there already present quite well. Like mentioned, we have these three business areas: ship power, marine business, power plants, energy business, and services. At the moment, my team, we are a rather small team, industrial design team. We are operating in Espoo, Finland. We are mainly focusing at the moment to ship power. The basic design process that you can see here, design research, concept design, and design development, which is the implementation. This is the very sort of a simple version of a basic design process that you can have among in R&D activities. And basically, you can also offer these different phases as a separate packages in the organization easily and gain and create value and understanding if it's necessary. The most important thing in design research phase is that you actually capture a very solid requirement specification. And the concept description is of course very important, And then what is many times forgotten, that in this last phase, which is the design implementation, the design development phase, where you actually finalize the design and ramp up the production, that's actually the part where the actual fight is happening. Because it might be that in business-to-business environment, in engineering technology organization, driving in a competence like design is really not an easy job. And it might be that right in the end, there comes those issues that are we really changing product features and for functionalities in a way that the design thinking is suggesting. And then the fight starts. And it's actually everyday, very hard work in collaborating with different disciplines to actually pull through the design. And this is one of the sort of major things that I think designers possess by nature. A very strong capability for this is that actually in the very beginning, when you define the value from the end users and you drive it through the concept phase and you drive it through the implementation phase, is that actually designers tend to be very willing to nurture the values that have been identified, for example, for the end users to the final product. And that's a very important that you actually carry on the full responsibility and task through the whole process. Not only showing fancy concept studies. This is a bit of a summary of the equipment that we are working on. We are working on navigation and communication and control devices, automation, engines and machinery, propulsion and control rooms in power plants. And we are utilizing the basic skills and capability areas of industrial design. What is, I think very interesting to notice that what I have here as the first thing is the user experience design, which is, in a one way, it's a bit more abstract concept and skill than what are these others in this list. But I would say that it is one of the most important tools in nowadays business to utilize in organizations and in businesses to gain good results. It's the comprehensive view, systemic view, the end user focused view to business and product design. Few words about the processes. Over here, I think this is, if I would like you to remember something from my presentation today, I would say that this is one of those most important things. That when you have the design research phase, you should really push whoever partners you have and stakeholders to understand that you need to make end-user focused design research in the beginning to gain the understanding of the values and needs of the users and perhaps customers. And at the same time also to visualize and understand the operating environment that the users are working on and the devices and products are used in. And then combining into this scenario the technology and business requirements. I don't know if this sounds fancy, but in the end this is quite simple. And there is one very nice key element here, and it's really the visualization power and skill that designers have. And it's actually very powerful if you work in a technology engineering organization or in whatever context you are working, if you can visualize complex systems and map out needs and values and requirements from that. It's actually much more pleasant and effective in project work than using the old way style, which is having the Excel format listing of the features and functionalities that you need to have in your product. And this is very crucial. And it has been very interesting to notice that actually designers, many times projects I have seen that after this phase, when you have convinced the technology organization and the business to understand that what is actually the source of innovation and what is the direction with the product, they tend to be drivers in the project. They are not perhaps sort of official project managers as such, But I have noticed that designers tend to have this very natural way of leading by doing. It's really being the driver for the innovation. And it's, I would say that it might be also a sort of a new way of having research and development activities. And it's very effective, and it's very pleasant also for everybody working in the core team in these projects. The concept description, the concept design is probably very familiar to many of you, and this is of course many times also the phase that is most known as at what designers do and can contribute to the product design. And we have the very traditional phases here: concept design, mock-ups, prototypes, use case descriptions, interaction design, and usability testing. And it's very good that you actually go through all these steps, because this is how you really create the value and make the innovation. It's not a rocket science in the end, the creation of innovation process. It can be very practical, and many times I think that what is left into too small sort of recognition in this area is that utilizing a very formal and very structured process and using all the elements and possibilities that you can, it's very good. In the end, you just need to accept the fact that iteration is there and it will happen, and you need to accept it to happen. So basically, design process on the other side is the sort of other edge of seeing how organizations and way of working happen, and the other side is the management perspective, which is the very traditional stage gauge model, which is step by step going forward. But basically both of these are required, and basically you can have a lot of sort of freedom in the R&D work and teams by having this creative design team working in a very iterative way. But still, in the background, you have very formalized tools and processes that management understands. And what is actually most important, of course, is that you carry on the value proposition. And that's something. You need to have the red line going, and the sort of a red line always to follow. That's the value proposition. Nothing else, but that's always the same in business. And this is the design implementation phase. Some pictures also there. What I would say that I also, when I practice this return on investment thinking, I also practice what is design thinking. And this is my sort of idea that what could it be? These four elements: multidisciplinary, systemic, end-user focused, co-creative. Co-creative means that it's fun. End-user focused means that you are creating the value proposition from the very beginning. Systemic means that you have complex systems that you understand and you can visualize, and you can place your actors into those systemic mappings. And then multidisciplinary view. And this is actually, it has been very, very interesting to notice that with this kind of a cooking, it's very effective even in a traditional engineering organization. This is a picture from a cruise vessel operating between Finland and Sweden from the bridge, where captains and pilots operate. Maybe now you could actually show the other video, please. Thank you. So there you saw a video animation of our new propulsion control system that the industrial design team designed at Wärtsilä. It was a very successful project. What was also very good to understand about it is that when talking about these navigation and control devices for big ships, it's actually, if you think the role and importance of industrial design, it's critical. You couldn't do it anywhere else nowadays. It is like the top business requirement that industrial design is leading this. Okay, again, in this case, we took the role. It wasn't given. So basically, many times you don't get anything by given, you just need to take it, and I guess that applies into many other things also in business life. But what's here important to understand that our value proposition, cost-efficient, modular system, easy to install, space-efficient, intuitive GUI design, easy to use, attractive design, faster commissioning, less parts, is actually a very comprehensive list of benefits that we actually make for our customers, but also for Wärtsilä. And like I said, this is I think one of the key things, and it's quite simple thing in the end if you think about product development from design to concept, from research to concept and to the implementation, that you actually need to carry out the initial thoughts that what you think that should be the seeds of innovation that you want to take to market. And you actually need to make a decision, and it's a very iterative process during the design process that how it happens, but you need to mold it through the whole project, and in the end you need to have a solid list of the benefits of the design activities. And of course you could also say that this has been very successful in the way that actually our customers who have placed the orders a year before this was launched, now they want to change their orders, and they want to have this. Nothing else is good enough for them, but it needs to be this one. So that's a good example that, okay, feedback from the markets, that's not return on investment statistics, but it's a clear indication about the value, and a clear indication also that now we are on the right track to the brand recognition, to the brand value. And no wonder last year it won this Red Dot Design Award, the best of the best title in Europe. So basically, great product, great project, critical project, and also you need this kind of projects in the end, that if you want to build a sort of a product and product identity for the company, because of course you need to somehow convince the audience and yourself about those design characteristics, identities that you want to market in the future as a sort of elements of the brand. Okay, here is a simple picture, old versus new one. I think these kind of images we see a lot, but it's very obvious over here that, okay, if I said that there is the value proposition is the attractive design, of course I can be argued that has no meaning in our business environment, and partly it's true. But then when you talk about this kind of a sort of a haptic designs, that you actually you make the design for someone's use, the pilots and captains in this case, it actually many times you find yourself to realize that it's actually beauty that you find over there. The perfect functionality, it somehow correlates many times also to beauty. And this is actually what has been very interesting to notice also about industrial designers and creativity in business, is that actually it also comes together sometimes to the fact that they are craftsmen. They are very, very sort of very strict in how they want to take care that the forms and the features are actually carried out in a very special way, that two big compromises just cannot be done. You need to be guarding this field of expertise, because nobody else actually understands it. And this kind of design methods, mock-ups, prototypes, and usability testings, it's clear source for innovation. This is, again, it's not rocket science. It's the source for innovation. But you just need to make sure that you carry out it on through the whole project. Another kind of a picture, another kind of case, example for you, engine control room. It's a very robust, very dark, very dirty, there is not space almost at all over there to operate. Very hard environment in working. This is the sort of other side. If you think about the bridge and the captain and these control and communication and navigation devices, and then you land into the control room, we are talking about same company, Wärtsilä. We are talking about same ship. We are talking about same industrial design, but our role and meaning changes dramatically. And basically, what is actually very interesting to notice in this kind of company like Wärtsilä, which at first you might think that there is no room in this environment, in this business-to-business environment for industrial design activities, but there is. And actually, it's interesting to notice that you just need to understand how to sort of divide the different activities on a different level, for a different level, so that the way you operate in this environment is totally different the way you operate in the bridge. But basically you can still find the same, similar and same tools and methods and processes from the industrial design package. But then again, it's also a matter of fact that your sort of final goal might be also very different. In this case, which is, believe it or not, but the target was the Wärtsilä's volume selling engine design, new identity for that. Could you imagine more brand recognition for this product with this design than any other, even those control and communication devices? So this is the core business of Wärtsilä, and this is how probably 80% of the customers and those who know the company think that what we do, we are engine company. So basically, again, over here, the value proposition, sound and vibration insulation, splash protection, touch protection, ease of maintenance, durable cover system, ease of use, new identity for Wärtsilä engine. Okay, they operate in a different level, those propositions, but basically it's a list that actually industrial design carried out through our process and thinking. This was a really great project, and we were one of the winners in this year's Fennia prize competition. Here's a better picture of the engine. Very interesting project. It's when you do, you don't see the scale from this, but it's a huge. It's a size of a small house. The engine, and it's very, when you see it live for the first time, it's very breathtaking, and there's a lot of respect to that kind of product that you want to feel. But it was very interesting to notice that I was very passionate in designing this. My team was very passionate. We were very. It was like the sculpture of the millennium that we were doing. And of course, this was something that we couldn't tell to the business audience, because they would have thought that, oh no, now you are doing totally wrong things. But then again, you need to have the enjoyment if you are the designer. Maybe it's just a question that you need to shut up sometimes and not everybody to actually hear it. But it was pure aesthetics over here. Many days, many weeks, and many months And of course, when I got the possibility to introduce this when it was totally ready to the company CEO, it was also interesting to notice that I had usually it's 4 or 5 minutes you have the time. Now it was 5 minutes, I guess. So it's always a quick thing. What you start to talk about, I was also telling him the sort of aesthetic curves that we spent like weeks to do it. And then afterwards, I think that he must have been thought that we are crazy using all that time for those curves. But anyway, it's a platform design. This is going to be 30, 40, 50, 60 years on the market, this design. And now it's design patented. Hopefully somebody tries to copy it and prove that it's the most beautiful engine in the world. And here are some pictures about the usability and ergonomy testings that we did in this project. So it's very, very basic activities. So having the process and tools and methods ready and to be right is very important, but then you just need to understand that you utilize them in a different way in different parts of the process and different kind of projects. You just use them differently. Here is the scale. It's very breathtaking when you go to Vaasa, to our main factory, and see these engines. And here's a picture that we did, this kind of picture manipulation that you can see it in the ship environment. Few words about user interface design. I think this picture was taken from somewhere Norway, small ship operating. My team was making a customer and end user research, and they found an engine like this. And perhaps this is the first ever graphical user interface in Wärtsilä ever. Well, at least somebody luckily put those holes at the factory so that you can find the buttons. But maybe it's good to know that if it's an emergency stop or start button. What do you think? I would say that it would be important. And of course, some chief engineer have recognized this, that maybe I should write this, that there are no big mistakes happen. But this is the environment. It's a very harsh, robust environment, and these kind of things you find from there. And there is a lot of room for design thinking, design doing in this environment. But the point is that you need to go there. And you need to make the design research, you need to visualize it, and you need to you need to make the user experience live. You need to show it, and the best case is that, of course, if you can sell design work so that you sell that you change the total user experience, but of course, you need to level with your audience into the right balance, how to do it. But let's say, I would imagine that in the future, in many fields of business, sort of a total user experience design will evolve more and more. And also not only because of these service design activities. Now, I guess this was into that environment that you see here. We did this one project. This is, again, one value proposal. This is a control and monitoring and communication device to power plants and ship environment. And this was a very, very interesting project. I think this was a very, very important from this point of view, which I wanted to highlight to you. I guess I said it already, that this is the thing I want you to remember if you remember something. The systemic view on design research and end user activities and customer operations in the actual environment. And like said once again, what I think that makes designers better in business, in R&D business sometimes, or what I have experienced, is the natural way of having things multidisciplinary, systemic, end-user focused, and co-creative. Intuitive and interactive graphical user interface design is, of course, one of those areas. Of course, like I said, that's the critical things that we do in Wärtsilä. We do the research, we do the interaction design, and we do the graphical user interface design. And this is a very it's a bad thing to say business as usual, but maybe it's even that for industrial design already. But this is important slide. If I think the sort of a superficial sort of a reputation that design sometimes carry, and especially when you bring it to business environment, you have this basic sort of obstacle over there that you are expected and you are taught that you work on a surface and you actually cannot create the value. But in the end, like I said, the ultimate goal is to actually the brand value and the brand recognition. And over there on the right, you can see this is my list, how I envision our design work in Wärtsilä's context and our future. The design identity and the image. Power, precision and professional. It's just a coincidence that they are all starting with letter P's. But anyway, the idea is that when you actually combine the strategy and the design drivers in the very beginning of the project, you sort of evolve during the project, you mold it to this final destination of really having this a certain identity that you actually want to have in the markets and nurture over there. And along the way you have the design characteristics, and this is really in the end the idea that customers and users would already from this identity they would recognize the value and meaning of Wärtsilä products and services. And the design is of course just an iconic surface for that, for the recognition. It has the value if it has been built, but if it hasn't been built, of course it's a cheat, and might be successful, might be not. But in the end, there is also a meaning why we talk about iconic design. It has inbuilt value in it. And of course, this is something that we also try to pull through at Wärtsilä. This is my idea of those design characteristics, that how I see the best design cases that we have done, what kind of characteristics we actually do have over there. Now I got the signal that it's over. It was the last slide, but please, do you have any questions? I'm available for the whole day. If you have questions or want to chat of whatever you want, I'm available, but please ask me if you have anything in your mind.
Yeah, hi. In the beginning of your keynote, you were explaining about the industrial design possibilities of Wärtsilä. And well, most prominently probably is the brand value that have been presented here. But do you have any information on the hierarchy of what Wärtsilä invests in industrial design? Is it user interface design or user experience or anything else?
Sorry, where are you?
Oh, here. Right.
Oh, there. So, what do you mean hierarchy? Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
So yeah, we basically saw a list of different possibilities in ID that Wärtsilä does. So I was just interested in are there certain aspects of industrial design that Wärtsilä invests more than others right now, or?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, of course, because I said that there are different levels, but I would say that the sort of a honest answer would be that actually at the moment we are led by the fact of how the management is organizing the company. Sad to say, but that's true. But of course, as it is many times, you just cannot sort of drop your gloves for any reason. You need to do the work yourself. So basically, we are focusing, for example, to graphical user interface design, to service design, because there is clear pull. Of course, we want to serve everybody who comes to our counter at Wärtsilä and wants to have industrial design services. We never want to say no to anybody. because that's just impossible way of putting this competence through in Wärtsilä. But graphical user interface design, service design are one of those areas. And then also the four-stroke design that you saw, the engine design, that area is by nature, it is very important for the company all the time. That the sort of a quality of those products in the markets is of course very essential, and we are part of that.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. I think here's the one.
Thank you for a very interesting presentation, and I'd like to...
Can I still ask a very quick question? Still time?
I think, yes, there was a question coming over here, but maybe
okay,
I think you still have time.
Yeah,
we
no
take
problem.
this first.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm going to make it really quick. Really building on the previous question, what are the... Obviously, being a design manager at a company like Wärtsilä, you probably are going to have to make quite a lot of sales work for design. What would be your 3 bullet points to sell design within your organization? Top 3.
Okay, I'm very practical many times. You need to have few projects, and you must make them success cases. And so it means that you need to work very hard. And after that, you show the success cases and lose the theory. I think this is sort of a quick formula. But it's true that 70–80% of, at least I feel in my daily work, it's some kind of selling or coaching all the time. And I think it's the sort of coaching mentality, whether it's your subordinate or whether it's your boss or whether it's the company boss. I think you need to be ready all the time to give the best possible speech why industrial design is important. Just a quick few things. I think it's a sort of you are navigating in an environment that you are walking sales promotion material. So please go ahead.
Yes, first of all, apologies, Antti, for stepping on you. I didn't see you from far back. Yeah, I've got a question about the role or status of design in Wärtsilä. You already showed us how complicated and how multi-layered the design approach in Wärtsilä is. But actually going back to Antti's presentation and the design ladders he talked about, can you also see that design plays a role in the strategical thinking in Wärtsilä? When Wärtsilä sort of creates its strategy or renews it, has design a role on the top level already?
I think it has. And we need to remember that I represent basically industrial design team, but basically our whole company is a design company. And we have ship designer department in Norway. And of course we have a lot of design activities which are strategic elements. But I think from many of these Antti's materials I'm very fascinated about them to think that how can I see ourselves in them, and I would see that we are in each of those steps somehow we are located. And I don't know, maybe I need to talk with Antti this, that Antti can coach me that if the truth is that I'm really in one of those boxes, can I be in all of those 4 boxes? But at least that's my view, how I see it, that we are actually located in each of those. Please. Or are we running out of time? One more. All right.
I have very short question, and I think from very other respect or from other perspective. When you work within the design team, and you mentioned, I go back to this flow, this kind of enjoying the aesthetics and enjoying being a designer, I would be interested in how you, within the team, because you are managing a team and you are working as a team, how do you support the team, and how do you kind of energize yourself? Because you are working in very tough context. I would be very interested in hearing some thoughts about this kind of, how do you say, well-being of a designer.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And of course I can spend a lot of times with different people teaching the design and coaching to be happy and coaching to make aesthetics and try to enjoy it. But the fact is that many times it's about those persons, those individuals who are maybe gifted, who are passionate. Those who are passionate, you start to have the dialogue. It's many times something that you cannot give and expect it to really happen, and that's how it many times happens. So basically, it's important to. Well, I need it. At least sometimes. I work in a very hard environment over there, but sometimes we have this opportunity to take this aesthetic side of the work, and it's really, really important. And I guess also designers are different. Some designers don't see that as a sort of a liquid for as a sort of fuel for their passion and working in the field of design. They might be fine totally without that. They might be fine with having customer and stakeholder interviews and dialogue ongoing about the business and trying to implement those facts into the design work. But it's very also a sort of an individual level that, and I think it's when we are operating in a so wide area, I think it's important to recognize these sort of types in persons who you deal with, because of course maybe you need to nurture these qualities in some person, and in some persons they just don't exist. But I would say that it would be very sad to see in the future that if this kind of creativity working would disappear from whatever heavy metal industry that I'm actually working at. And at least I'm going to promote for that kind of activities also. Thank you.